Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Xbox Nation. It is Wednesday night, just a little bit past the top of the hour. That would be 8 p.m. Eastern, the best time, because I am on the East Coast, obviously. And so this is one of those great times to be alive as a gamer. We've got so much. I love doing this podcast on Wednesday nights. One of the main reasons, and Mooch, you'll back me up on this, because you've asked me before, why Wednesdays? And I'm like, Wednesday happens to be a day that gets a lot of gaming news.
It does.
And boom, today did not disappoint. There was a lot of very cool stuff to talk about today, and I am very happy to be talking about it. And we've got some people guesting in here today. Obviously going to be looking for some new people to join the podcast as well. So kind of tryouts or whatever. We'll be seeing some fresh faces throughout the weeks as we try to find a good sort of group of people to kind of join the podcast and join the fun, just have a good time with all this stuff. And I got to say, this should be an interesting podcast. A lot of cool topics. I wrote a really good topic list. What's up, everybody? If you're just joining, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell if you. I gotta.
I saw it. No doubt.
I've got a great list of stuff, but let me introduce my partner in crime, Mooch. What's up, Mooch?
What's up, buddy? Lots to talk about tonight. And, I got to be honest with you. I think on certain subjects, Crap, you're going to see that I think we'll all come to a resolution on the way the future's going.
Probably. I mean, look, you can only get beat in the face so many times before you just go, whatever. You know what I mean?
Like, I guess that's what it is. Let's play some video games. What do you say?
Yes, I mean, I guess,
right?
like even Sony's taking some hits. And so that's going to be the very interesting part, seeing how people react. But also, which is stuff that I don't really talk about a lot, but that Epic Store stuff that's going on right now has, like, people act like there's only fanboys on consoles, man, but there's a big PC contingent that are pissed off and very fanboyish right now because certain games aren't being released on Steam, but yet the Epic Game Store is paying that money, getting that exclusive content.
They don't care.
I know exactly. Epic's all about that life trying. What's funny is that Epic Game Store, and we're going to get into this a little bit later. They're all about, expanding, and they're already got more clout than the Windows Store, which blows my mind.
Oh no!
When you think about it, when you think about it, we also got Xbot448. What's up, man? How's it going today, man?
What's up, brother? It's been like 2 weeks or so. I missed out because of work. 2-3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, you were like vaping.
Well, no, I had to cover shifts at the vape shop. But what is going on, chat? It is great to be here. Crap.
Yeah.
What day is it, Crap?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day.
Yes,
yeah!
Wednesday. It is. I love Hump Day. But ironically, it's the only day I don't get to hump because I don't go. Never mind.
Wow.
Okay, let's go. let's like Mooch's little. You can tell when Mooch is uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, right.
The other day he goes, I was listening to MNC, and you got a lot of jokes in there that I missed.
The whole
like,
I'm not the only one. I think the entire chat just went, huh. At the same time, it was heard around the world. Right.
Exactly. We've also got joining us again, man. We got Predator. Thank you so much for joining in. What's going on, Pred?
Not much, man. Anytime you need me on, I'm here.
Absolutely,
well, mostly
man. Except for that one time when I asked you and you were working. So already Alamano Pino says, what's going on, everyone? Props to that big 8% PC audience. Exactly. We also got making his debut. This man knocked the door down himself. He was like beating on the door, and I was like, man, I'm going to give him a tryout. We're going to see how he does. So Shady, what's up, man? How's it going?
I'm doing damn good, Crap. I just want to say thanks for having me on the show. Like you said, I put myself out there. I saw an opening, and I thought, what the hell? You know what? I've said it a few times. Your channel was the one that got me introduced to this community. It was this very podcast that showed me that this was even a thing. I had no idea that guys were doing this every week, man. And my life has changed since then, man. I listened to a lot of them. I started looking everyone up on everyone's panels about 2 years ago. Got into it myself about a year ago, and there's no looking back. So thanks a lot for giving me a shot. I love it, man. I'm excited.
I appreciate it. And just so everybody knows, Shady's not one of those guys that, like, me and him don't agree on a lot of stuff. So, things could get kind of interesting. But I think at the end of the day, man, it's just important to know, man, that everybody respects each other. And it's just like, it's all about just talking about video games and stuff like that. So hit that like button, get all that kind of stuff out there. It's going to be a great show. Like I said, we have some fantastic topics. Obviously, I want to talk about Google Stadia. which for some reason, when I first wrote this, when I was doing a video yesterday and today about it, I called it Arcadia for some reason. I don't know. Because I think I was thinking of that Stadium Arcadium thing. I think it was an album from Red Hot Chili Peppers or something, right? So that's what I was kind of thinking of. Terrible name, but streaming service, if you guys didn't know, launching in 2019. They didn't mention any price. They have, I guess, one first-party studio. Didn't mention any developers or anything like that. I sort of did a stream about this initial reaction yesterday. I've had time to let it sink in. Here's the thing. I can appreciate sort of what they're trying to do. I feel like this is an announcement 10 years too early, especially since they didn't really show anything. Like they showed about a minute's worth of actual games that we know of, and the rest were like proof of concepts. And then I did have a little bit of a laugh because they mentioned fully destructible environments thanks to the power of the cloud. And I heard that 6 years ago. And we still haven't seen that to that degree that we were promised. So I feel like this announcement's way too early. I really honestly thought that Google might have tried to get into the console business first and then and have streaming as well, and then sort of try to win some people over. But you need some kind of content. You need some kind of hook. I wasn't really impressed with their controller, like some kind of Wi-Fi thing. I think the YouTube side of things is going to give them some kind of leverage, but I don't think it's going to be the leverage that a lot of people think. And also, we didn't really hear much about it, as far as like how the cost and like I would have loved to see what developers were on board, because so far it's like Ubisoft and they showed that they showed Doom, and they also didn't really confirm what you're going to need for like the expansive type of things. Like they're hyping 4K and 8K already, but show 1080p. And there was a lot of lag already associated with that. And they say you need 25 megabits down for the 1080p stuff, which is, I was just joking, but not joking, but I ran a speed test on my internet before we went live. I'm rocking a 7.75 down right now. So I guess I'm out, guys.
Well, if you want to play games, we have something for you, and it's called console. So they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Absolutely.
But you can see exactly, Microsoft comes out and they start talking xCloud and all that good stuff. And people are like, oh man, now they're losing exclusives. You're going to be able to play on your phone, possibly, the PS4 and the Switch and everything like that. And then Google comes out and they show their platform, which is a streaming service, multiple devices. And what I hope right now with this whole thing is maybe that negativity kind of calms down with Xbox, because with Xbox you're gonna get a console.
Hey, I did a video yesterday and I was like fully I was hitting reverse on my Xbox hate, dude. I was like, I completely can appreciate Microsoft at least giving us that damn option to have a console. Google's just like, Google's like, hey, you want something? You're gonna have to stream.
You get
they're like, you're getting this, and that's all you're getting, and we're not even telling you how much it costs.
You can buy anything like that,
or you can buy this controller. Like, I don't know. There's no UI apparently. Like, I don't know. I am not sold on this streaming stuff at all. But Mooch, you were talking about it because you go, it looks like Google, your first initial thing, you messaged me and you go, it's xCloud ×2. Right, and you're not wrong, but the problem is xCloud looks like it's going to take much less bandwidth to actually be viable.
You're getting into the actual technical numbers. What I meant by ×2 is they're doubling. I think that Google's doubling down on it because they frankly have to. They don't have a hardware base, right? They're not going to come out with anything as far as a console goes. But let's take a step back before we get into that. That was just me shooting the breeze with you. To be honest with you, here's my thing with Google. The same way I look at this technology in xCloud is the same way I looked at Tesla cars, okay? They showed these things a decade ago, okay? And just now, you're seeing a car here and there pop up, right? So my point being is this is definitely the future. There's nobody on any show or any gamer can say this is not where the future is going. It is. But to say that it's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years, will it be out? Yes. Tesla was out 10 years ago, but Tesla was a $95,000 small sedan. Okay. Yeah, now they're like, hey, we're affordable. And for most people, they'd say, no, you're not. Okay. they're 35, 40,000 now, which is better, but there's still people who are not in the $35 to $40,000 market. Hear me out. This is a technology that will become the way we game. Will it become the way we game in 2021? Most likely, absolutely not.
No.
So realistically, what I'm saying to you is this. I look at it differently. I look at it as this is amazing technology, and it's amazing to see that the pastime that we all love has a future. It has a future. That's something that we should, because let's be honest, in 2012, they said the pastime that we all love was dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they've been saying consoles are dead for a long time as well, but it was interesting to see.
Back in 2012, it was console or bust.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, you saw Priscatella. He gave his hot take. He's all about the hot takes too, and he's like, no, why would they want to exclude anybody? And you kind of agree with that. With streaming, you definitely exclude a large portion of people, even today. Probably even 10 years from now. Whereas, if you have that option for a console or something, I think that's still going to give people a little bit of an option. I have my, obviously, look, it's 2019. I kind of try to live in the now as much as possible. 30, just turned 37, whatever. It's like you look to the future, because we're guaranteed at least one more and probably two more Xbox through cycles, right? So you're looking at maybe 10, 15 more years of physical consoles from Microsoft alone. And, that takes you into 50 plus. I don't know how I'm going to feel at that point.
Now, consoles they're definitely going to be around for that long. The question is going to be is where are the majority of gamers going to play? And I got to say, I was surprised that Google didn't come out with hardware, with a console now, because the way I see everything setting up, yes, they're going to have, streaming to multiple devices and stuff like that now. But when they're really going to double down on it is when this whole 5G network gets kind of situated, which is, a few years down the line. We just started seeing 5G phones,
Italian Clowns is one of those ones that pushes this 5G stuff. But here's the thing.
It's coming because they're coming out with phones for it and everything.
I know 10 years ago, though, I heard about this thing called Google Fiber. Everybody was like, within 10 years' time, you'll have it, crap. And it's nowhere near here. Nowhere.
Well, there's just a guy out there with a big spool. He's running at the Crap's house right now. I mean,
that's a wired solution, and in itself was almost dated. Like the world was going very wireless at the time as that Google Fiber was being pushed. And now that we're as wireless as we are, 5G, from the sounds of it anyways, like I'm hearing stuff like they can stream 16 8K movies at the same time. Crazy numbers. I know it's being advertised to me on commercials up here in Canada already. So it's about to knock our door down, I'm thinking. But I don't know if it's going to be the answer. It sounds like it might be. I think it's going to help a lot of people, especially if it's a blanketed thing. Like if everyone has access to 5G.
It's going to at least let people hit that 10 megabyte or the 25 megabyte. You're going to have a lot more people hitting those minimum numbers that will be able to get in on this streaming and stuff like that. And I think that's where these companies, because at the end of the day, a company wants to make money. They want to sell you the service, you know what I'm saying?
The Board Game Renegade, he thanks for the donation. He says happy anniversary, Sea of Thieves, which we're going to get into that massive update as well, which looks it looks incredible, by the way. I just gotta say Mooch, we're gonna have to get back in on that, man. Look,
I'm ready to go, buddy. Sea of Thieves. Listen, the fishing thing wasn't big for me. Shout out to Jez who couldn't wait for that, but I gotta be honest with you, I do think that Sea of Thieves is gonna be It's ever evolving. Rare spending a lot of time and money on it. Now, you say they're hiring and bringing in more people for a new IP. I personally think that they're putting a lot of time and effort into Sea of Thieves still as well.
Yeah. Phil Spencer confirmed that they're working on a new IP, though.
Are we on Sea of Thieves now? Or are we still on Stadia?
No, we kind of bounce around. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I said, I think that this was an interesting thing. A lot of people were sold on stuff, which I don't get that. Without seeing anything, you know what I mean? And also the parallels didn't I was very, very reminiscent of 6 years ago, something always online, not actually owning your stuff, not being able to trade your stuff. That was absolutely the worst thing ever. And now it's like all that stuff is that stuff is just fine and dandy. I think a lot of it has to do with the hatred for Microsoft and Xbox in general. Just goes to show you, man. Just goes to show you. And I realize they're different setups because one's a box and one's a not or whatever. But I really think that Microsoft's idea was really one of those that's for those people that like that futuristic stuff, but also the traditionalists like me, where I actually kind of like the idea of I can buy my physical disc, and install it and keep my
Right.
disc
Well,
right
that's
on the shelf, but I didn't need it. I
That's
love
what I
that
was
idea.
Crap about the whole Google presentation. First of all, I walked away from the Google presentation with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's number one. Number two, Microsoft has at least pledged, I would say, and he said it, you know, Phil has said it in multiple different interviews. Of course, you have to search for it, but he said that, of course, there's going to be the Anaconda, and they said they're looking to the successor. So my point being is that you at least have 2 consoles coming. After that, the future is kind of just too vague. But the thing about the Google thing is this: you know, everybody that's a PlayStation fan right now, everybody that's an Xbox fan, you guys have these communities. You have your friends. You have dedicated games. Google has presented the easiest way. I think they've done a good job of presenting the way that they're going to get games to you on as many devices as possible, as easy as possible, and to move from device to device as simple as possible. I think Microsoft has that as well. But what I'm saying to you is that there's a lot missing here because, yes, the casual market is bigger than the people that we all count in the hardcore sector. I get that. But the hardcore sector and the YouTubers and the people that game and the people that stream, for the most part, are part of that hardcore sector. So they're always going to be pushing that hardware. That there's a lot of people that are still attached to physical disc. Okay. So there's a lot left that's unanswered as far as how is Google going to create this presence of a community like we've been used to for the past 20 years.
They buy influence there. Like EA, I heard, just gave Ninja $1 million when Apex Legend came out to stream that game. $1 million to Ninja to stream Apex. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, but that
was a big eye opener to me on how much money.
But Shady, that doesn't create a community.
It does around Ninja. People watch that game, and then all of a sudden, instead of playing Fortnite, they're playing Apex Legends.
Well, maybe
it actually does translate. Like I would say it's even more successful than just the commercial, which is hundreds of thousands thrown away.
Katie, when you turn on your Xbox right now, you have all your friends on there. Some personal, some from the internet. Okay, when you go and you see that Google pays so-and-so streamer $1 million to use their device, are your friends all just going to watch that person and you're changing?
Mooch,
no.
I have an answer.
That's not necessarily that's not exactly I can just guarantee this much. That's not Google's answer to my question.
No, I think they're going to have a friends list of some variety, if that's what you're asking. Like similar to Xbox friends or PlayStation friends.
The finest in the chat says, Mooch, YouTube. The finest, we're using YouTube right now. So Sony, Xbox fans, and Nintendo fans are using YouTube as well. Go ahead, Xbox.
Mooch, no, I was trying to cut you off before you went, because with Stadia, if they do buy influence, like Shady said, on YouTube, right?
Yep.
What's going to happen is they have different kind of like features. You can set up a lobby. You can have the people who are watching your stream line up to join your game. You can also have them actually, buy the game in the link below. There's so many interactions with YouTube that they can definitely do that. They can buy influence, and then these streamers out there, once people start seeing, oh man, I can get in line to play with my favorite streamer. All right, what do I got to do? And stuff like that. Before you know it, you might have a small base to start with, but you do have a consumer base that will, get bigger over time.
I think as people find out that the thing exists, like these casuals need to find out that Stadia is a thing. But once they do, and they realize that they don't have to buy a console, like I'm a 35+ year hardcore gamer, and I've spent a lifetime trying to convince people around me to spend money on video games, either buy a console to begin with or buy the games that I'm buying so we can play together and enjoy them at the same time, kind of deal. Like it's a lifelong career.
Right.
Whereas the Stadia, it takes away that initial hundreds and hundreds of dollars purchase.
Yeah.
It's not going to replace console gaming for me anytime soon, like at all. But it's a nice option. And I think there's a lot of gamers out there that are going to look at it like, hey, look, I don't have to pay anything, but just buy the game that you have. Like they said that they want to do crossplay. Microsoft has also been very pro crossplay recently. I'm wondering if those two are willing to work together. If so, I have an Xbox. I don't have to convince my more casual gamer friends to buy an Xbox just so they can play 1 or 2 games for the entire generation. I just say, just go grab those 2 games. And that's that.
But here's the thing, and Pred, I want to give the mic to you too, because you haven't gotten a chance to speak. But I just want to say this much. I think here's the deal. When it comes to the Google Stadia, I think that it's just another option. I don't think what's funny? A lot of people keep thinking that the White Knight is going to come in and change this or knock Xbox out or knock Sony out. Google's just going to become, they're going to come in, and what's interesting about this is they're going to come in and there's a pie, okay? There's a pie. They're all divvied up right now into 3 for the most part, if you want to say 4, including Nintendo and PC, Xbox, and Sony. And now it's not going to be like Google comes in and knocks one out. Google's going to come in and turn the pie from 4 slices into 5. It's just everyone's going to make a little bit less, or one's going to make a little bit more, one's going to make a little bit less. It's just going to shift the money around because just myself personally, from looking at what's going on, xCloud is going to be doing the same thing. Yes, they don't have YouTube, but Xbox has their thing. Okay, they're going to have their thing. Phil even said, "I've got something big at E3," so they're going to have their version. Well, I don't know what it is. Yes, Phil.
I mean, here's the thing. They knew that Google was going to leverage YouTube, because that's why they invested in Mixer. Eternal Shada, he says Google STD. Stadia is going to be another Ouya on Live of the past. Well, what's funny was after the Stadia announcement, On Live was trending on Twitter like a lot. So I thought that was pretty funny. And when I checked the comments from places like IGN or GameSpot, people were calling it Soulja Boy's. They were like, would they team up with Soulja Boy or something? Like,
I saw a lot
people
of that
just
too.
people just, I guess, didn't get it. Like, again, this is something that I said Microsoft would have to deal with, and why I believe Sony didn't really push PlayStation Now as much as they probably wanted to, was because it has this bad name to it, this whole stream. Like, video games are different. I know everybody's like, well, music streams now and our videos. That's not interactive stuff. This is like interactive stuff where people really kind of covet actually having that thing. And, this is why I worry about, and this is something, like I said, I'll worry about when we have no consoles or whatsoever, is game preservation, right? Like, everybody talks about that and backwards compatibility and all, and it's a thing. But what about game preservation in the future when we have no real choices to do this kind of stuff? Now, I will say that The Verge came out with an interesting article. It says Stadia is about the future of YouTube, not gaming. And its byline is Google starting a revolution just to keep things as they are. And it mentions that Google announced plans for a new game streaming service called Stadia. Besides the logo, the controller, and a single game, Doom Eternal, the announcements left us with more questions than answers. Primary in my mind has been the query of why Google needs to be in the gaming business at all. Isn't it enough to dominate web search, ads, and browsers and smartphone operating systems and maps? What part of our lives does Google not want to know about?
That last line, you can go ahead and just raise crap, because that's like saying, what is a rich guy like? More money? No shit.
Yeah, I get you. And it says, and then it dawned on me, we might not be looking at it from the wrong perspective. What if Stadia isn't a case of Google aggressively entering a new business sphere, but rather a defense one to protect its existing kingdom? YouTube has a practical monopoly on user-generated videos online. It's the birthplace of creative communities, the workplace for many, and the landing spot for a huge array of gaming-related videos. Lest we forget, YouTube's most popular personality, PewDiePie, got to start by filming himself playing games. Everything from replays of competitive esport matches to complete playthroughs of narrative-driven games, game reviews, and curated anthologies of funny moments in games make their way onto YouTube. That's the status quo. Google is the king. Amazon's Twitch runs the live streaming arena, but YouTube is ultimately the place where the vast majority of game-related video ends up. So his thinking is that Google Stadia is to protect it. That's the motivation to a greater or lesser degree to maintain the dominance of home gaming video. As of right now, Google gets more than 200 million logged in daily active users watching gaming content. That's 200 million pairs of eyes to present ads to every day. In 2018, YouTube accumulated more than 50 billion watched hours of gaming content. So they're suggesting that maybe it's not to take over gaming, but to protect what they already have. So I found that to be an interesting take. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not totally
Well, I remember hearing that
kind of comment on
Microsoft.
what Mooch said earlier, and you kind of said it just now too, Crap. Like, there's a lot of questions to this. Like, they didn't talk about pricing. That's the biggest thing for me. They didn't talk about how the ecosystem is going to merge in with any other gaming.
Right.
They talked about like crossplay and stuff like that, but didn't really go in depth with it. And I don't know if this was a stage for that, but they could have at least explained that a little bit more. I know they're probably not going to drop pricing yet, but I mean, like, if it takes off and it works, and I was actually in the Assassin's Creed thing when they did it, and it works. There was latency there. It wasn't nearly as bad as it kind of seemed on the video, but it was there. I noticed it a little bit, but it wasn't that bad for a single player game. But like, if it takes off, then we kind of know that this is going to be a thing for the future. But it's like they only really showcased Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They didn't really talk about any other games using this system, using this process. They kind of gave us a lot of numbers and figures and stuff of what they're planning on doing, but I didn't really see any definitive data that this was going to work. Like I would have liked for them to kind of have.
There were playing Doom. They were playing that new Doom game at the show. Actually, I saw some footage from GameSpot.
Were they playing online?
Yeah, they were. Well, not like versus. They were playing the single player.
Yeah,
and I saw two different
games like Fortnite that are popular. A lot of multiplayer games are popular right now. So,
like I saw footage twice of Doom from GameSpot, and one of them had like actual visual stuttering happening. It wasn't game-breaking stutter, but you could see it. Yeah. And then in the other footage that they showed, it looked like a regular video game. I couldn't see any stutter at all. I mean, I couldn't see the guy's hands to judge lag, but it looked really smooth and crisp. There was no image degradation. It wasn't always, though. That was the thing. The other video had visible stuttering happening, and then this one, the same, like it's like the same day. It was just two different videos. One of them did, and one of them didn't.
Listen, when you go to Best Buy and you look at Samsung TVs, you look at LG OLEDs, they are actually shipped to Best Buy with a disc that plays the finest of colors and it plays the greatest of views.
That's right.
That's all staged. What you just saw, okay, or what you didn't see in person. You saw staged shit. Okay.
No, it was like actually someone playing, and there was one of the GameSpot guy was just filming it with his camera. Like it wasn't footage directly to me. It was a camera recording it.
What I'm saying,
let me ask you.
Internet, everything was hooked up beautifully. Yeah. The Wi-Fi was crisp. Okay, listen,
and they still had issues. What's the point? They still had issues.
That's my point. Exactly. So they were in the most static environment. They still had a bit of an issue. So what I'm saying to you is now when you bring that in the real world, okay. It's just, here's what I'm saying. This is not negative. I actually looked at it and was like, wow, this is pretty damn cool. But at the same time, what I'm saying to you is it's just another viable option, like Microsoft's been saying for probably the better part of 3 years now, different options for gamers on where to play your games. And
I agree.
If you want to buy a Google controller for $60 and go down that path, that's fine. Now, myself personally, here's what I'm saying. Besides the link in the YouTube thing, which I get that that's definitely a major weapon for each of these companies has a major weapon. Okay, that's theirs. That's great. Putting that aside for a second, because I don't care if I'm in the middle of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I don't need to tweet a link out, okay, and be like, "Here's my problem on this thing. Tell me what's your problem." I don't really find that to be that. I find the fact that I have an ecosystem and a library and a community. I'm going to go more towards the xCloud. Version. Okay, so if I'm going to do this whole thing, I'm already. And listen, if Sony with PS Now does, PlayStation Now Cloud, okay, all the big time PlayStation fans, they're going over there. So this is what I'm trying to say to everybody. Again, it's the same pie. All Google's doing is coming in and literally wedging a piece out. Maybe it's a bigger piece than we all think, but I think it's just a mediocre slice at this point in the beginning, and then it may grow or it may diminish. They're taking from the same pot. They're not going to kick anybody out and get a big chunk. So
I don't think anyone's getting kicked out. I think the pie itself is growing because there's a lot of people that they just will never buy a console or never game on PC, but they're willing to give it a try on any device. Like I think there's a lot of people that do that.
Here's where I scratch my head. The last 2-3 years of every console cycle, these things are anywhere from $150 to $210. That's within the range of many, many folks. I'm just saying, I think that if you're not a gamer...
Who wants to buy in at the very end when all your buddies are like, that's old. No one talks about it. No one cares. It's old.
So you're saying nobody wants to go out and buy a $170 S or PlayStation 4 vanilla, right? But somebody's going to be okay buying a $65 Google controller? Like,
why not? I mean, one's $65, one's $180. I mean, and one you can play everywhere. One you can only play on your Xbox S.
One you can play a 4K Blu-ray thing on, and another one you can't.
You can. That gives options for everybody. I think Microsoft is obviously delivering more. You can buy the game and own it, both physical and digital.
I'm just saying,
you can go with Game Pass and have it, download as well.
Microsoft's doing the same thing.
Games. Like it's a better option with Microsoft because they have that console option and they're offering more. Like that is definitely where I'll be doing it. I like their idea where they've already come on and said that they're streaming the games that we own. So I go in when xCloud launches and I've got 600 games available.
I gotta pay some bills real quick, guys. Elemental Pino, he says, back when OnLive was a thing, I thought it was a great way to preview a game before buying on my platform of choice. Stadia could be great for previewing or demoing before buying. Depending on what they do, they might charge you a full $60 for the games, just like we do now. but you don't actually have, you know what I mean, like own them the way that we traditionally do. So we don't know. That's one of the things that they got to really kind of work with. You know, and we got to work out. Hey, a lot of people watching, almost 600. Please hit the like button. Also, man, if you guys enjoy Shady on here, let me know. Predator, let me know. Because I'm looking to add people to the podcast regularly. So if you guys actually enjoy the back and forth, just let me know. I'm open to suggestions.
Predator,
yeah, go ahead.
Predator is Pred. You belong to what now? It's is it Ubisoft Club and all this other shit? You pay like $100 for one of these big to play all the games. Is it EA?
It's EA. I actually got into EA. I got a I guess like a couple of codes from some other from Boom actually, and so I had like almost 4 months worth of codes for them, and I got into it. I enjoyed it, but I just got it for Anthem.
but it's like 100 and what a year?
It's $100 a year.
Okay, that's not bad because EA releases 2, 3, 4 games a year. Yeah. If you buy 2 of those, you're saving money by going.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point of getting it. It's like, you know, I don't play a lot of their games, but I do typically play at least 2 of them. You know, to kind of break even or make a little.
I would think Google wants to do this whole you know, Netflix pricing thing. I think they want to do the subscription based.
I think it'll be both. It'll be both. I think they're going to sell you the games directly, and they'll have like a Game Pass model that'll have X, Y, and Z games available to you at each time. Like they're going to offer both. I really think. Same with even Microsoft. They already do. They sell you the games, or they have their Game Pass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, they go ahead, Bot.
No, I was just going to say with all this, whatever Google is doing, the thing that I'm happy about here is. Xbox is not like standing out there with their PUD in their hand talking xCloud and everybody kind of like shooting them down for it. Now we have another company talking about streaming, another company that a lot of people out there do take seriously because I think Digital Foundry's like they have more money than God. All right. So when it comes down to it, I like what's going on in the console space because we could pretty much tell Sony's going to do this with PlayStation Now. They've hired a bunch of people to restructure it.
Well, they want to compete too. Like there is that.
For the people who want the console, you're going to be able to have the console. All right, but then you can use this as an extra service. So if you're out somewhere and you're bored as hell, you don't know what to do, you don't want to go on Twitter, stuff like that. You'd be like, oh shit, I forgot I pay for Game Pass. Let me check out this xCloud streaming while I'm at the DMV or something like that, waiting for my number to be called. And it's like an extra addition on top of what you already like to do.
Well, let me ask you guys a question real quick, okay? Because I watched this and then I watched them like again. The only footage we really saw anything of was, we saw about 10 seconds of Doom. But mostly it was just that Assassin's Creed stuff that could have been anything, really. And he's like, here I am on my PC. And then seamlessly I go to this. And then I do this. And I, as a, 30-odd-year-old man, busy, I'm getting married. There's like the built-in family and who knows what more family comes later. Whatever, right? Working full-time. I have never in my life been like, and I know maybe it's not geared for me, but I'm curious at who has a life or a job or a family that allows them to go, okay, hold on, I got to go for my PC. Let me go take a dump. Let me take this back in there. Hold on, I'm cooking dinner. Let me take my iPad and play it on
it. Gaming relay race. You hand off the baton.
Yeah, I don't understand if that there was a huge need there for that. I get what I think that may be why Nintendo is kind of successful, but even them with that ability to take their thing on the go, that sits at like 35 million sold, not 2 billion.
See, I don't think that they're looking to have people switch like over again. Remember, the last few weeks I've been talking about the generation that's coming up. They're starting their work, they're getting their money and stuff like that. And this is the generation that grew up with a smaller screen in front of them. We grew up with our Nintendos. Even before that, I played Atari a little bit or whatnot. But we grew up around a console. These gamers coming up now, they grew up around phones and around tablets. So to give them that option of playing a game where they are comfortable on, we might not like it. I know Mooch taught, when talking about latency and everything like that, it might not be our cup of tea, but there is a demographic out there who was raised around these screens, and to give them that option to play like their Halo on their phone when they're not in front of their TV or something like that, there are gamers who are going to take take advantage of that.
I'm sure
I can only imagine being like a school teacher in today's world with like Stadia as a thing. It would be a nightmare. I think this would be huge for all the kids in school at all. Like you're out there at lunch breaks and your spares and stuff. You're actually able to play your games against each other, and everyone has it because, like I said earlier, there's no console barrier. Everyone kind of just has it as long as they're willing to buy the game. Obviously, nothing.
I can also see schools and businesses blocking Google.
Almost like it's not already there.
Man.
Yeah, because you know what, it's like you only need a browser or whatever. So I can actually see that. Also, next question is this. So Walmart is talking to developers and publishers about a streaming service as well. Obviously, yeah, I'm reading this right now.
Walmart.
Yes, US Gamer. Google made headlines this week announcing Stadia, but according to this report, another major corporation is investigating the video game streaming business. Walmart. Sources familiar with Walmart's plan. They actually say that they want to have their own platform to enter in the now competitive video game streaming service. No other details were really out there. Walmart might sound like a strange company to be jumping into streaming, but the move isn't wholly unexpected. In recent years, due to competition from Amazon, Walmart has been increasingly looking into more tech-focused markets beyond its traditional physical retail chains. Walmart has integrated its physical stores with its large online presence, and they're also apparently have different there's a chance that they're just kind of wanting to jump into this. Now, to me, like you guys are probably all old enough, well, at least to know your gaming history. I mean, I was like fairly young when the video game crash happened originally, and one of the reasons why the video game crash happened was you had new consoles coming out that were expensive, and people didn't understand that they needed to upgrade. I think people are a little bit smarter thanks to phones and technology and things like that. But you also had too many choices because you had an abundance of clone consoles out there, and there was no, and you had an abundance of these games and knockoff games that were selling, 20, you could buy 20 of them for $25. And so that was meaning people were buying these bad games and they weren't having fun with them. And they're like, this sucks. So my question is, you're going to have, this streaming service, Sony streaming service, Amazon streaming service, the Mad Box possibly coming out, Xbox Scarlet, 2, 3, 4 different versions of that. Like, is there a chance that this could be maybe overkill and be a little bit too much too soon? Like everybody's kind of taking this stuff in, and
the answer is yes. And the other answer that everyone's looking for to this is survival of the fittest.
A little bit, yeah, I think so.
I mean, listen, they can all come out with them, and we're still going to end up with 3 or 4 at the end. So, I mean, realistically speaking, I don't give a shit. They say the $2 billion. The $2 billion, that's the world. So that's not necessarily exactly how you got to go about it. This is a situation where, I don't know. I think that here's what I'm hearing when I hear all this. You know what I'm hearing for us? I'm going to say something that's going to make the entire audience very happy. If you have all these players in there, I expect these games to be real cheap. And I'll tell you why. Competition's going to be flourishing. And I mean, you see it right now, okay? Right now you have Epic that's proposing this 8812 divvy for the developers to go over there. I got news for all these guys. If Amazon, Walmart, Verizon, okay, everybody, Home Goods, okay? I don't give a shit who's getting it. Anybody else wants to get it. Sorry, Bed Bath & Beyond's going to make a console. Listen, if all these guys...
It smells terrific.
These games Mooch were talking about it. We were like, we got to do us a Mooch and Crap streamable service.
That's
right. Talk a bunch of BS about how we're going to be doing 12K and how that's the future, and not have anything to actually show, but get people hyped over it.
You can do that streaming service, and you just have Mooch yelling in the background constantly while.
I'll be like that. I'll be like that Micro Machine guy from the late '80s.
No one remembers that.
Not 8K, but 12K. We got 12K over here, and you compare it to you go there and get a steak. But why get a steak when you can get filet mignon? Filet mignon's much better than steak. We got the 12K. Did you hear that? 120 frames per second over here. Mooch and Crap streaming service only, right? I mean, that's what you're
that's pretty good
about.
Crap. But I'll tell you right now, I'll be real honest with you. If you got Epic doing the 8812, okay, for developers, well then you're gonna if you have all these players now trying to get your money for the new Assassin's Creed or the new Doom. Well, this thing might be $50 one place, 45 another, 42 a different place. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, that's gonna drive the market. Forget where everybody. You know where your friends go? Where games are free. That's where people go. So realistically, of course, these aren't going to be free, but they're going to be cheaper. I see the games getting cheaper because now what's going to happen is these companies know they're going to make money on the back end. So they're going to have to go up these developers. The developers are still going to ask for the same money. The companies are going to have to subsidize these for us. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, realistically, that's what they're doing right now. Right now, they are literally they're saturating the market with not consoles, but providers, game providers. And if that's the case, well, there's only one, or you're not going to go buy Assassin's Creed, no matter how cheap it is, on 5 different consoles or 5 different streaming services. So these are going to have to do the reverse. It's going to be like Superman 2. Okay, we're going to get in the chamber and push on that ice thing or that crystal, and all of a sudden the gamers are actually going to win. Instead of the developers getting the 88.12, we're going to get a game brand new for $48, $45, or at least that's how I see it. If you have that's ultimately is how you're going to go from 5, 6 major streaming providers down to 3 or 4 again.
You could definitely see that. Sir X-Man says, dude, Walmart can't even make a good PC. Hey, man, E-machines for the win, right? So, I mean, dude, I had an E-machine back in the day.
I had one too, man.
Did you? Yeah, dude, exactly, man. I had to get my, I don't know, it's in the chat rooms and all that kind of stuff. Elemental Pino says, Mooch, not yelling, see the game still broken and cheaper. Somebody had mentioned, like, basically what I said, a game crash, game apocalypse, by some of these developers possibly buying third-party content for their platform to make it more attractive, right? Which is a good point, because Google, if they do want to compete, there's rumors they might have some kind of deal with Ubisoft. There's rumors that they might have some kind of deal with Sega. So I don't know, like, these companies willing to do things that, that Microsoft hasn't been able to do. I don't know, but it was interesting for me just to see how this all came about, and how Microsoft is just like gearing up for E3 because of that, I like that. I just hope that they don't really focus too much on the streaming aspect. I feel like there's other places they can do that. Yeah. They want to do like a little 5-minute deal on it. I'm fine with that, but I don't want to see them do an hour dedicated to streaming, because honestly, I think most of the people that are going to watch E3 probably won't really care that much. But it was funny because today on what was that, IGN, they did an article called "What are teraflops and what do they tell us about Google Stadia performance?"
Who is your daddy?
And what does he do? Exactly.
And for coming in 2019 with that article.
Exactly.
Great.
So remember, like, teraflops didn't matter, and people used to make fun of them and go terror flops, right? Remember when they used to do that? Mm-hmm. So I really thought that's something that to me is funny. But I do think that, this is competition, right? Like, you're right. Only the strong are going to survive this. I think, honestly, Microsoft's in a good spot because they do have data centers, and they're supposed, and again, they released a press release or whatever. It was on Windows Central talking about there's only 10 milliseconds of lag. But again, they were talking about when they have their stacks in Washington and they're in, Redmond. So that's right next door. You know what I mean? And where you look at it, I would bet apples to dollars that, I don't even know if that makes sense. Donuts to dollars, I guess. I don't know. That Google had their stacks, had a stack of stuff right next to these people that are playing this, because that's what Microsoft did when they showcased Crackdown 3 originally. Remember, they had their servers right there. When Sony announced PlayStation Now, and they were originally showing that off years ago, they had the same thing. They had a bunch of servers set up there right next to where people were playing, right? And then people were like, it's relatively lag free. But then when you actually get to play it and you're not literally right next to the stack, there's noticeable lag and input issues. And I think that could be. We assume maybe, that we'll always not need, that one day we won't need hardware, but I'm not 100% sold that we won't.
No, a large part of gaming right now is multiplayer. Okay,
yeah, and we have not seen. And to be fair, remember, they did not show any we've not seen any multiplayer. Predators, I played the single player when I played PS Now. Most of those PlayStation Now game, I can't think of any that are multiplayer that you can actually play. It's all like single player stuff. So I think that we do have, a bit of an issue there. Where, how will single player work? They kind of addressed it a little bit, but they didn't really share anything. They just talked. It's like, we have this idea in place and you're not going to suffer any input lag or any kind of thing. And you're going to have fully destructible environments thanks to the power of the cloud. And I just was kind of laughed at that because we heard that before, and, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I'm not falling for that right out of the gate. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see some of this. Yobi He says, peace, love, life. Man, I love that guy. He says, need some motivation. Yobi, check my Twitter every day for motivational videos. Plus, working on something huge for Xbot, Lady Foxfire, and Mel. I think Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, last one standing. You definitely could. And he does. He has some very inspirational stuff. Huge supporter of not just this show, but multiple shows around the community. Really good guy.
Oh, yeah. He's all over the place, man.
Yeah, super positive guy. You know, I have to say that I have been much more positive since I've seen that. Nothing makes you appreciate what you have, like seeing something that like totally cuts out the options that you want. You know what I mean? Like, thank goodness for Microsoft and giving us the options and things like that. So a lot of people probably maybe expect me to freak out about this. But Microsoft publishing Cuphead on Nintendo Switch. Here's the rub, folks. I don't care. 18 months later, I personally don't care. They could personally put their games on any console they want 18 months later. I don't care. As a console gamer, give me a reason to get it first. Give it to me first. Give me a reason to have your console, and I'm good with that. It's going to have Xbox Live support and achievements. Again, they're also saying expect more of this to come over the next year plus. And that's something that probably, you know, nothing
party,
big,
right?
Well, it's second party, but Microsoft is publishing it and putting, and they're putting their, you know, it's a smaller game. Like they couldn't put Gears 5 on there because the Switch can't handle it.
Well, Ori was published by
second party as well.
Yeah, Ori, I would suppose is going to go there. There's a rumor that Forza Street game could possibly go there as well. You know, they're very chummy. I wouldn't expect this to be a two-way street though. So if people are expecting us to get Nintendo games, I don't think it's going to work that way.
It's okay, brother. I got a Snap's got a Switch.
Oh, you got a Switch, man? Like hell yeah.
So we can do this.
Yeah,
I think we're a little way off before Nintendo and Sony start playing ball like Microsoft is, but I think they will. I think it's Microsoft putting out the big olive branch and kind of showing that this is going to work, and they'll show the receipts. They'll be like, "Look how many more games we sold." Wouldn't you guys like that too? I think the other guys are going to be on board with it for sure. About halfway through the next gen, I think is when that stuff's going to start to kind of.
I mean, I think it depends. If Sony just comes out with and just starts dominating with the PS5, I don't think they have a need to do that, right? Like, I think Sony's going to be the last one to do more traditional stuff. I'm not sure what Nintendo's going to do, but they kind of do their own thing. But they have always protected their IP tremendously, right? The whole reason they like, again, I'm a historian of gaming. The whole reason why there's a PlayStation to begin with was because Sony Nintendo backed out on them building a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo at the freaking conference, right? And then announced that they were teaming with Philips instead. Because basically what was going to happen was Sony was going to have rights to use Nintendo IP on discs, right? Where Sony, and they didn't want to lose that. And then Philips ended up having rights to Sony or Nintendo games for a certain amount of time. And they got some really crappy Zelda and Mario games out on the Philips CDI that were just terrible. Because Nintendo ended up backing out of that as well. And then Sony got pissed off and it was going to be the Nintendo PlayStation. And they ended up just calling it the Sony PlayStation. And there you have it. Basically why we have PlayStation in the first place was because Nintendo jilted them and kind of screwed them over, if you want to get real about it. And, so that's very interesting. Cuphead seems like to make a good game. It's a perfect fit for that. It's not something I'm going to be into, but it is cool that, you're going to be able to get your achievements or whatever, kind of like Minecraft or whatever. Butch, what do you think about that, man? You going to double dip on that?
No, I will not be double dipping, but I'll tell you right now, I think that it's great. Like you said, I think you said it best. It was 18 months ago or whatever it was, 12 months ago. It doesn't matter. That's something that Microsoft should do. I call it. I think that Microsoft often they're not going that route. I don't see why they don't double dip in the first place. I don't see why they don't have their exclusive first party games come out to say console, okay, or just console and PC, and then do Game Pass 3 months later, or do PC 6 months later. Let the PC, let everybody use it. I think the reason that they can't do that now that we see what's happening is Google's going to be doing everything day and date. They have to do everything day and date. So realistically speaking, whether we're talking about Cuphead or we're talking about Ori and the Blind Forest, Will o' the Wisps, or whatever it is, those are all going to be going to the Nintendo Switch, and to feel right on a Switch console, they really, really do. As far as the other ones go and all that other stuff that we were talking about prior, crap about seeing Gears and Halo and all that on a Switch, that would have to take a much more powerful unit from Nintendo.
Yeah. Now, do you believe if they had a more powerful Switch that they would publish their first party stuff on there?
I think it would be I think it would be a much more heated discussion going on between the two companies. Yes.
Yeah. See, my main thing is this, right? Like right now, apparently xCloud takes around 10 megs of speed to work on a platform, right?
Right.
And the Switch is tops, and the Switch tops out at that. And the fact that there's no provider for that leads me to believe that's why I kind of backtrack on that whole idea that I thought the Switch would get Game Pass. And I thought maybe it didn't make as much sense. And it looks like that's probably Microsoft's thinking. But I do think that if they do come out with a more powerful console in the future, or hybrid in the future, like a Switch 2,
bring that up again.
They probably will. Yeah.
I mean,
you know
what's
funny?
Like, and I'm going to take this conversation crap and kind of blend it in what we were talking about a second ago. And it didn't just dawn on me. I've been thinking about it, but we've all been saying, why isn't Sony at E3 this year? And we're like, well, it's because they don't want to show the same games, or they're not ready to show their console yet. Well, I've been thinking otherwise now. I'm thinking Microsoft has now made it very clear that a large portion of E3, and I know, Crap, you're saying you're hoping it's not this, but unfortunately, I think it is. I think a large portion of E3 is going to be Microsoft's xCloud and their answer to Google. My point being is, I don't think Sony wanted to get on later that same evening or the next day
and have nothing,
and have absolutely nothing in streaming to talk about, because you've got Google, right? And it's not a bash on Sony at all. I think Sony said, you know what? We're doing fine. We're in first place. Let's ride this wave right into next year when we've got a better suitable plan to answer these two other companies, and then we'll address streaming, because I don't think right now they have anything like that to counter Google or Xbox. So this E3, folks, and I know, Crap, you just said the opposite. I got to be honest with you, especially after Phil's comments that have come out or leaked out or whatever that was that came out today, and he said, get ready for a big E3. That was in response to Google. So you're going to get a large dose of medicine of xCloud and streaming and PC this E3.
I think this E3 could just be longer in general because it's almost all Microsoft. Like EA's not there, so anything EA's showing, like that new Star Wars game, it's going to be 2 hours, if not 3 hours, in my opinion.
No.
Yeah.
Nope, not even close.
They got 6 new studios to possibly show off the stuff. They got new generation of hardware to possibly show. They got xCloud
105 minutes max.
And then they're the only stage to show off all the third party. Like Sony's not there, so there'll be no third party there. Nintendo doesn't do anything with third party, basically.
That's
it's all Xbox.
That's not how they roll, Shady.
EA's not there, so all EA games, that new Star Wars game is going to be there. It's going to be a 2 to 3 hour show, I think, this year.
No.
Well,
let me tell you this much. Nowhere near 3.
I think whatever they did last year, they'll probably.
If you want to flirt with a little before, like maybe an hour and 50 minutes or something like that, I'll dance with you around 2, but not 3.
We get an Inside Xbox every now and then that's 2 hours. It's like every other month it's a 2 hour sucker. So I don't think they'll have any problem.
Inside Xbox?
2 hour E3. Or it's terrible.
Oh my God. Of course it's terrible.
So I'm saying when it comes to E3, I think they can easily fill a 2 hour show with everything they have, if not a 3 hour. I think they're going to go big.
Another hour of Inside Xbox, maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, but that hour of Inside Xbox that you're talking about, Pred, is just going to rehash what we just saw. So,
no, I actually think if they do it, if they're going to do, like Shady's saying, a 3 hour show, 2 hours of it will be basically E3, and then the other hour will be Inside Xbox with maybe 2 other announcements.
Maybe some side stuff, some indie stuff.
The announcements will be a new controller.
They'll cram everything they can't get into E3. They'll cram into Inside Xbox.
Aaron Greenberg's new green socks. Listen, I don't.
Nice.
The only thing Inside Xbox is going to do is rehash the show, and that's not really how they do it. They've got the setup and stream that you saw last year is going to be the same flow. I'm not saying it's the same exact for minutes, but it'll be the same flow. They're now doing it in their own studios again. They're in control. They got it. That's how they're going to do it. I don't see them going to 3 hours.
King LB says, Moose, don't forget about Apple and Amazon possible.
Absolutely, nice, King. Absolutely. Well, the more the merrier, in the sense that it should result in cheaper games for consumers.
Well, hey, Dingo Empire says 3 hours. Microsoft needs to have an intermission. You know how like Sony did last year, ferry in new people to a new location every 20 minutes.
Yeah, that went over well. It was just nothing but smooth when they did that.
Well, I actually don't. Here's the thing. Microsoft, and I'll let you finish in a second, Xbot. I think we're going to see very much the same, just my opinion, we'll see pretty much on par with what we saw for Time last year, and then they'll do a bunch more at the daily shows that they do.
The daily shows are great. Yeah, that I say you'll get that half hour to hour show every day throughout E3 week, and those are great. Those are where you see a little bit of the inside of what they're doing. Maybe you'll get a tidbit here or there, but remember, E3 is where all the cameras are. That's where the lights, action, showtime is. So, you know, me and Crap have said it. Some of the fun things that they kind of dive into and explain a little bit more in detail over the course of the week will be on the Inside Xbox or whatever they want to call it for those half hour to 1 hour shows throughout the E3 week. But yeah, they won't. I don't see them going very much over 90 minutes. Maybe, like I said, maybe it'll be 100 minutes. That's max.
Yo, well, check this out, Mooch. I love what you said about, you know, Phil Spencer when he was like, well, you know, we're going to have a big E3 and basically an answer to Google. And I'm the type of person I like to bring up when we said stuff in the past that people kind of like either laughed at, scoffed at, kind of made fun of. But Mooch, me and you, man, when we were talking about it, I was like, you know, they're gearing up to go against Google, Amazon, and Apple. You see that first foot got put into place with Google, and what did Phil Spencer do? All of a sudden, you saw that kind of like, hey, well, wait for us. Like, you see that competitive.
Yeah, Google got Phil to get out of his chair finally.
I think it's more of a Microsoft Google thing, though. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They don't seem like they're playing too friendly, though, right? Like, Phil's all kumbaya.
I don't see Google yet.
I seriously doubt we see Xbox games or Game Pass on the Google service.
You're not gonna see Kumbaya there. Not at all.
You guys didn't see it, but just before Phil Harrison went on stage, he blew out a set of candles. Yeah.
Hey, with all these options, crossplay has to become a more standardized thing. Otherwise, each little ecosystem has got like just a little drip-fed group of people playing. Like they need to have access to each other. Otherwise, there's some guys out there that just aren't going to make it at all.
Yeah, I mean that could be one more thing about Phil Harrison. Thanks for bringing it back up. His last few projects have been kind of failures, right? He was the big PS3 guy up on stage bumbling around when that thing was introduced. Then kind of got kicked to the curb. Then he was on the Xbox One stuff, and he was one of those guys bumbling around, didn't know what was going on with that. Then he was put in charge of like Lionhead Studios and the other UK-based devs. Kind of bumbled around. Lionhead closed down. Now he's with Stadia. So yeah, you know that I'm not sure that exactly bodes well for them. But what do you guys think about Cuphead Switch? You guys excited about that?
It's a good move for the company. They're going to sell a lot of copies on the Switch, I think. Yeah. So it's good. I mean, it's still a little 2 to 10 man dev team. So good for them. Microsoft is going to make bank. So good for them. I know they could always, what company can't take more money? But I think it's a good move. Like Crap said earlier, it's been out for a long time. It's a fantastic game. I think every gamer out there that, you know, is old school at all needs to give that sucker a try, man. Check it out if you don't have it on Xbox already.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an incredibly interesting thing to see how well it does, because that company announces their sales, whatever they announce. I think it was they hit 2, 3, 4, whatever it is between Steam and Xbox. So I think it fits well on there, and I have no problem. I'm sure people probably expected me to have a problem. I don't care. No, I don't think Bob Beastie goes Mario on Xbox. I don't think it works like that.
No. It would be
unfortunately epic. It would be, but I can tell you right now, nobody would buy a Switch if you could get Mario on PlayStation and Xbox. Like, no chance. I would never, ever buy a piece of Nintendo hardware again. Underpowered crap, just in my opinion. You know what I mean?
It's like a toy in comparison to like toys, almost Fisher
Price.
But
it's more expensive than an S. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like $150 less than an X. Like, you know, I would much rather. To me, it doesn't make sense. It seems like we're overpaying, and it docks. It's like this cheesy little thing. I don't know. It's like
you're paying
ridiculous.
For portability, brother.
I guess I don't use it portable. That's the thing. Like Mooch, you're the same way, right? Like you mostly Mooch, right? You mostly just play 90%.
That thing. 90% it's in the console. Yeah, you know, it's docked under the TV. But I mean, I'll be honest with you. I have thought more and more about. There's devices out there. I know Salty did a review on his channel. There's a bunch of others. It's like rated 9 out of 10 on IGN. I can never remember the name of it, but there's a clip that you put the actual Switch into, and it makes it crap for someone like, say, bigger hands. It's able to hold the device and play it. And what it does is it mimics the old 360 feeling of the grips.
Yeah.
And it makes it. It's just a little bit more comfortable, basically.
Yeah, it does. And you know what the funny, like, look, gaming's changing. We got all this kind of stuff. Sir X-Man, Give it to Luca.
He loves
with the guy.
Loves it.
I love Sir X-Man, though. He says this oversaturation of consoles could be bad for the industry. Oversaturation happened in the 90s. We just got it back to where it's supposed to be good for gamers. We don't need this again. Look, this is what I was talking about with a possible crash or disinterest in gaming, right? Everybody's going after this gold rush of supposed 2 billion gamers. There's lots of different people in the world, lots of different economic situations, lots of different things are banned. People get put in jail for playing a game in different countries. Like, we don't know. So no, it's true. It's true. People just got put in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that crash back in the day was more actually because there was so much shovelware more than the systems.
Yes.
Like the too many systems wasn't an issue, but there was just so much shovelware. And keep in mind, we're talking about an era where the graphics were looking at like a green polygon triangle, and the game told you that was an elf, and we just ran with it.
You had to use your imagination.
An elf. So like they were terrible. So no wonder the population got bored because it was terrible. So today is a totally different thing where you've got non-gamers walking into the room and it's like, my God, what movie are you watching? I'm like, no, I'm playing this game, and their mind is blown. They're almost like they're intrigued to check it out themselves because they didn't know that video gaming has come along that far. So I don't think we're in that much of a risk of a crash, so to speak, like we did back in the day, because even though there's more options to get the games themselves, the quality is unimaginably better. So I don't think we're going to quite have what we did before, but there's going to be some winners and losers in this race. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I agree with you. Again, there's only so much room, and then you got the hardcore, and then you got the casuals, and a lot of people are going after the casual market. I always think that, and Phil has even said that the hardcore are the ones that buy a bunch of games, and I think that's us, right? We're the ones that buy a shit ton of games and spend the most money on those games, not even necessarily the one that buys most consoles, even though I think I have 5 Xbox ones. I know, Mooch, you've got a bunch, and you traded some in and bought new ones. Not quite new phenomics because you got the X.
It's the hardcore that actually create casuals. It's our casual friends that aren't gamers at all that hang around, like me as an example. I don't stop talking about games ever. It just doesn't happen. So I've created so many gamers throughout my 35 plus years. I've turned literally dozens and dozens and dozens of just real world friends who had no interest at all into hardcore gamers themselves. Some of them are casual, but if it wasn't for us, the message, like even with this own show, how many people listen to it is like, oh, I didn't know that. And they end up making their mind based off of our opinions.
Shady makes a decent point. I'll be honest with you. Shout out to all the content creators and the YouTubers out there and everybody that does this. We really do influence a lot of the casual market. I mean, I have just personal friends that'll write me and go, how come Xbox is trending right now on Twitter? Or what's going on right now? I see Google's doing something. What is it? These guys are buying like 2 games a year at most. But they know that we are always talking games. We're always bullshitting about it. And I do think that a lot of YouTube and streaming has sparked the casual market. There's a percentage of people right now that don't play a lot of games, but watch a lot of games, right?
That's market as well. Absolutely.
It's really
big.
So, I mean, that's all
Mixer.
part of it. Well, Mixer,
and
Twitch, absolutely.
YouTube. I mean, it's like, if you look at it and from that perspective, then almost Sony is on the outside looking in, right? Because they have the worst infrastructure, but I think they have the best games. Just stating my opinion on that.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, that's Sony's weapon to this whole streaming and what we're talking about with xCloud, etc. Is they've got the games, they've got the talent, and they also have the history. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason PS Now, in all of its issues, is the leading streaming gaming. What do you call it? There, a library available. They're apparently beating everybody 2-1, if not more. Exactly. They've got the games in history, crap. Everybody hit that like button. I really appreciate it. If you guys like the panel, I think the panel's flowing really well tonight. I really appreciate your guys' feedback on that as well. But hit the like, maybe get us over 200. I think that would be awesome. We got a lot of cool topics to talk about, including while everybody was making fun of Cuphead for going to the Switch, Sony, it looks like, is losing Detroit Become Human, Beyond Two Souls, and Heavy Rain. They're going to PC, but they're going to Epic Game Store exclusively. And here's the David Cage tweet, Mooch. Now tell me how this sounds to you. He says, and by the way, he's the Quantic Dream head. He goes, no need to own a PlayStation anymore to play Quantic Dream games. Anyone with a PC will be able to meet Ethan, Mars, Jody, Holmes, and Connor. Yeah,
Yeah.
Damn.
Like
Yeah, I
Bad
mean,
Blood there.
It sounds that's a pretty hardcore
Yeah.
thing to say, considering all that you need a PlayStation. And that's a good thing to have someone
Yeah.
who's exclusively worked with the company for the better part of a decade to come out and use that as their opening sales pitch. Hey, don't bother about buying a PlayStation. Just come over here. I think that's pretty big. And it's true. It's a true statement. But I think that's I don't know. I'm not sure what he's getting at, if it's truly Bad Blood, but I think it's a powerful statement coming from himself, David Cage.
Now here's the thing, Shady. They are going multi-plat. Their next game is going to be multi-plat. So
they got a series of games that are going to be.
Now here's the thing. I did not like I didn't like Beyond Two Souls originally. It was all out of order, and they changed that later on where you could play it chronologically. So I guess it's probably better. I didn't like Heavy Rain at all. Now, when it came to Detroit, I freaking loved this game so much so that I put it was in my running for Game of the Year. Like, it was just amazing, the story and everything. I played through it back to back, and then I went through and played through different forks because there's so many different possibilities for the endings. Just a fantastic game. And, you know, I would love to get these type of games on Xbox as well, but I don't think there's a huge audience for it. You know, I think it's
multiplat.
Yeah, exactly. So, I know, but we won't get this game because I think Sony might own the IP or the publishing. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but it does seem like that, you know, because Quantic Dream had that issue with the workplace, remember? And then it looks like Detroit didn't exactly light it up on the sales charts, but they did release it kind of close to God of War, so maybe that's Sony's fault.
Should have released it in a movie theater. They would have got more money.
Oh, dude.
That was good.
Dude, oh man, Mooch, didn't you love this game too, Mooch? Come on.
Yeah,
looks
of course, you can play with one hand, man.
Well, Detroit was a great game, and I mean, you know, the thing is that you see all these different types of games that come out now. I mean, you can only play so many like RPGs or first-person shooters, and it's nice sometimes to just take a step back. Detroit Become Human. I thought Detroit Become Human also did very well in sales crap. Maybe they didn't do what they were supposed to meet. But they did
like
over
2 million
2
players.
million.
They're talking players or something.
Well, whatever. I mean, and listen, I think, I do think there was some kind of falling out between David and Sony there. But at the same time, you know, they made that same harsh tweet the day that Detroit Became Human came out, if you remember, right? They're like, the day you wake up and find out that if you want to play Detroit Become Human, you can't play it on your Xbox, or you wake up that the Xbox can't play this game. So the company that he works for did that tweet and kind of took a jab at Xbox. Now they're taking a jab at Sony. Maybe that's his shtick. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know, Duke, what is it? Togo 13 says, was Detroit hashtag fun. It's not that I wouldn't necessarily say it's hashtag fun. I would say it was more like hashtag interesting.
Yeah, there's
you know
room for products like this. Like, there's a game on Game Pass that's about to leave. It's literally a full motion movie, and you just choose your way through the movie as it plays. It's the same type of deal, but you don't even move your guy around in that. So it's hard to call it a game. But I think there's a market for stuff like this. I don't always need that high octane, high energy, leaning forward, sweaty palm gaming. Like you said, sometimes I just want to lean back.
I'll play Viva Pinata, man.
Double fist some snacks and play with my feet. I just play with my feet. I think these games are decent. Like, there's a market for them.
It's called
I don't like when they're. I can't stand when they're held up as like ultimate gaming experiences.
Well,
like
you know
when
what,
The Walking Dead won Game of the Year. My God, that triggered me, man. Game of the Year is a walk along story. Like, no, it wasn't.
Well, I can't speak for all you guys, but like, you know, I think Shady, you're still in the single world, but like, you know, if you got a better half and you know you're hanging out the misses, and you know, it's hard to get sometimes family to get into gaming. You know, Detroit for one, and Until Dawn for another, was a way to actually game with the family. We had a really good time with it. You know what I mean? Like, it was like we definitely, that was a game that some people are a little bit more intimidated to play, like a Halo or a Gears or an Uncharted, right?
Yeah,
that's not their bag. But to be able to have other people in the house start to enjoy gaming, if you're a true gamer, I think you guys know what I'm about to say. There's a feeling inside where you're kind of like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Now, right? When you see somebody else pick up the controller that besides yourself in the house and says, this game's fucking awesome, like, that's pretty cool. And that
feels great.
That's where my eyes opened up to games like Detroit and Until Dawn. And, you know, those, and it's like, you know, here's the thing. I like those games better than the Telltale games. Now, Telltale games work the same way. I'm not going to belittle them because it's the same thing. If someone in your family picked up the controller and loved that, good for them. But for some reason, on the adult level of saying, I liked how Detroit had a murder mystery kind of feel to it. You were a detective. You were also making sure you found all the clues. Then you were doing the fast action pace things where if you didn't push the buttons in the sequences that they were going in super quick, you got penalized. These are all things that all came into play with this game that made it riveting enough for somebody who's not a hardcore gamer, but at the same time, somebody who is a hardcore gamer, like Pred said, you could sit back. You can actually kick your feet up and enjoy a game without being on the or no, shady and not being on the edge of your seat. Sweaty, like, you know what I mean? When you're playing like Resident Evil 2, holy shit, the minute that fucking Mr. X comes in, you're like, damn it. I'm too old to be jumping off the chair like this. It's just like, it scares the shit out of you. You're like, wow. So it's nice sometimes to be able to take a game like that and enjoy it, and have other people enjoy it in the family. And I think that's where you see these different genres of games hitting home with different folks. And that's where this 2 billion gamers kind of comes into play. It's new people experiencing new experiences.
I enjoyed it. You know, like I loved Until Dawn. I know you really like. You finally came around to that game after I
did come around. It took a while.
Man.
Yeah.
I played that game, and when it came down to it, I was like, you know, the story was cool. But at the end of the day, if I was going to give it a review, I would actually have to give it 2 different reviews, one for the experience and one for the a game review.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Because at the end, you know, because like when I was playing it, I thought to myself, how many times was I actually interacting with it in terms of actually doing something besides walking from one cabin to the other, or, you know, to the sanitarium or stuff like that.
Riveting.
And it had a good story to it, and I think Detroit probably has a great story to it. But I'm like, well, how much am I really interacting with this, or am I sitting down on the couch playing it with one hand while checking Twitter in the other?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like Edith Finch, man. Edith Finch is coming to Game Pass here really soon. I bought the game for really cheap on the last sale. I played it. I loved it, but I can't recommend it to like a hardcore gamer. Like the story is cool. I thought about some stuff. It was a neat experience, but that's really what it was. It's hard. It's weird to call it a game. It's like it's digital entertainment. It's not necessarily a game, so to speak. Like there's no winners and losers in that type of a game. You just experience the story, and that's fine, that's cool, but I just don't like when they get heralded as like amazing video games and are compared to like the Call of Duties or Halos or Uncharted's, God of Wars, any of that. Like those are real games, damn it. Tetris, something like that. Skill based is
Tetris 99. We got to switch.
Yeah.
Playing it.
And then am I mistaken in that the choices in Detroit are actually like serious repercussions? It's not you just make it through the same story and you're either a dick or you're a nice guy.
There are serious repercussions. They were like
cool.
The first time, like I played through the car line, it did not end well. Like there are many different endings to that, like many different endings.
That's
cool. Like I just wanted to get right back into it and get a different ending. So you know, that to me is incredible. So it is interesting. And again, this is something that is going to be exclusively on the store that Epic Games has, which I find to be very, very interesting. You know, just wow, looks incredible that they're able to lock down so much. But I do want to talk about EA Access, which looks like it's going to be going to PS4 as well. There's multiple reports. There was a leak that it was also on somebody's PS4 and also on the EA Access site now that it's going to be there. Mooch, what do you think, man? Do you think finally, or do you think Sony's like bowing down, like they're trying to copy some of what Microsoft is doing?
I think it's something they have to do. Crap, they don't have anything to present like xCloud or this and that. So EA's going to give them this. Sure, let's do it. You know what I mean? It's not streaming, but it's a way to grab the game, put the game on the PS4. It's showing Sony's team player. They're not, you know, renege. They don't have to renege on it. You know what I mean? They can actually do it, and they were doing that before because they wanted to push PS Now. PS Now is a success now, so now they can actually do that. You know what I mean? They can open their doors and allow EA access. That's awesome. I mean, I think that they should have had that all along. And myself having a PS4, I'd like to be able to have, EA access on there possibly.
It's hard to argue with that $3 a month if you buy the year for all the games on offer there. Like it's dirt cheap. It's the cheapest service out there, and there's a lot of games on there. Plus, you get every new game within a year of release. So if you're willing to wait for them, you get them. But it's a wicked deal. Sony should have had it day one. It was extremely anti-consumer of them to make the decision for the customer, in my opinion. Let the customer decide if it's a bad deal or not. Don't Sony just shut it down, and it was a straight up reason because it didn't benefit them in their minds. They would have rather you bought all those EA games as opposed to having access to the entire EA library for $3 a month. They just didn't see enough money on their end, I guess, but I'm glad they're coming around. It's about time.
You know, thank God that Sony finally wised up and kind of gave this the green light. But the only thing I'm concerned about is when, you know, it first came out that EA was turned down by Sony. There was a lot of Sony players out there like, it's not a good value anyway. We'll never play it. So it's going to be interesting to see how many people actually get their EA access on the PS4 and PS5 when it comes out. You know what I'm saying?
I think that once people realize that it is a value, and especially if, well, I mean, look, EA hasn't exactly done amazing things, but this generation. But if you wanted to, you know, hop on Battlefront 1 and 2, or you know, any of those Battlefield games,
Yikes.
or I'm not winning anybody over, huh, Mooch?
No,
I'm trying, man.
I know, man.
Hit you with a plane, Mooch.
I know,
Nice.
yeah.
Watch out, Predator tank. Where?
Yeah, well, I mean, look. Well, Madden or whatever. Again, I mean that's one of those arguments lately. Like I was playing Madden the other day, and it was like I really missed the 2K games. I missed some kind of competition there. You know, like that's one of the things that I love competition. I think it breeds innovation, and it kind of is getting stale. So I would really love to see, like, this is going to help. I think people, they're going to jump to it. I had it, or I probably still have it. Somebody gifted me a year of it or something like that, but I don't really use it that often. I think it's cool for stuff like Anthem. Mooch, didn't you play Anthem or something like that?
Yeah,
absolutely. That 10-hour trial, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I mean, those trials are really cool because then you can really like try them out and see if you want to buy them. You know, I think that's really cool.
You also get 10% off of every single EA product in the stores. So like up here in Canada, it's $80 for games brand new. So I save $8 off. Yeah, so like
$80.
Yeah, you guys get 60. We were at that. Then the dollar, sank. So it's $80 now. So I save $8 off of each EA game that I buy. So if I buy 2 games a year, that's $16. The service costs me $30 a year. So it's like $16 a year for the whole thing. That's $1.50 a month to access the entirety of EA's catalog. That's pretty badass for me, actually.
Hey, Sir X-Man says, who misses Mooch and the Eagle Shield? Press 1. Right? No, come on. Hey, hit that like button, guys. Let's get over 200 likes, man. You guys are dragging ass on those likes, man. What's up? This isn't Mooch's channel. Let's go.
Do it for Shady.
Yeah, do it for Shady. Come on, guys. Hit that like button. Let's get some likes going here because we're doing a good show. And actually, we're getting through some topics, surprisingly. So I want to talk about the Sea of Thieves 1-year anniversary update. Yeah. So they're going to be it's going to be dropping on April 30th. It adds fishing, cooking, harpoons, a new quest system called Tall Tales, a new way to damage ship, the arena, and more. This sounds just enough to get me into throwing my pirate hat back on and my eye patch and my peg leg.
I'm willing to play that game whenever you want, Crap, but of all the things you mentioned, the only thing I was excited about was the and more.
Really? Tall Tales, brother.
Well, let's just be honest. He didn't say, I'm going to sound like Crap just sounded like he just did like a Google Stadia commercial.
The arena deathmatch mode.
I'm still waiting for the information. Like, what the hell's coming?
Mooch, here's the thing. The arena stuff does sound very cool, right?
Yes,
if we want to hop in and just like go plunder, like that's awesome.
I'd like to see a little bit more about it, though.
Yeah, you know what? I think what I'm gonna do. It probably won't get any views, but I'm gonna review it a year later, just to where it's at, because I think the content that they're adding and the options and stuff have been absolutely incredible. Remember, Mooch, when they said originally they didn't have any plans for content after last year?
Yes.
And now they're like completely changing around. It must be doing pretty well for them, don't you think?
It's kind of two different parts of the coin. I think it's doing better than they thought for them, Crap. A. B, I also think out of all the games that Microsoft's doing their day and date with in Game Pass, it's the only game that has people going back to it. You know, I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny.
Forza, brother. Forza.
Well, I think Sea of Thieves is that games as a service game they were looking for.
And that's probably why they're making another game as a service game.
Absolutely. It is what it is. I mean, myself personally, I agree with you. And I said it at the beginning of the show. I'll say it in the middle and I'll say it at the end. Listen, Sea of Thieves is #fun. but it's hashtag fun with the right folks playing the game that you want to play. Now, I'll be honest with you. There's times, Crap, we go out and we get done podcasting. We're kind of shooting some ideas for MNC. We go out and we have a good time. We're playing the game. It's more talking than actually playing, but we're just having fun, whatever. Then there's times we went out with like Zalker, who's a pirate legend, and we had a field day, getting loot and bringing stuff back and actually capitalizing on the game. So there's many different ways to enjoy Sea of Thieves. And I know there's people go fish. Go fish.
A good point to that is me and Mooch were playing, I think, an hour by ourselves, and we got 2 chests.
Yeah.
Then Zalker hopped in with us, and we did the pirate fort, and ended up with like
80,000 coins.
80,000 coins. Yeah, it was like ridiculous.
Shit.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
That would have taken like 18 weekends at the rate we were going.
Well, this is the ultimate definition of like a sandbox game. You get a sandbox, you got a pail and a shovel, you throw different kids in them. Some kids are bored out of their mind without direction.
Good point.
Other kids, you come back in an hour and he's got a castle, a moat, he's got invading armies coming in. He's having the time of his life. So this game, just because it's not as directed as some, narrative and story driven, it doesn't have that. But I think if the people are willing to really dig for the treasure that this game has, they can find their own fun. And for the people that are able to do that, there's a great time to be had there. But for those gamers that do like to have a directed entertainment, it's not here. So
that's exactly it. Like when I was originally enjoying this game and people were like, Crap, how can you like this game so much? I was just having a blast with my friends, but I always was quick to say I can understand where people say it doesn't have the content they're looking for, or it's not a game for them, because I think that this is a particular game that is for a certain type of gamer. I just really loved it. Sir X-Man says PlayStation will not be able to play the backwards compatible games that are on EA Access.
That's a good point. Like Mass Effect and stuff. Could they play Mass Effect?
That is a good point, but you also have to remember they don't have a problem doing slightly different variations, because don't they do EA Access on PC, and there's a lot more stuff on there than there is on the Xbox version.
Yeah, they include like WB games and stuff on the PC, I believe. So exactly. They are different, but I mean that is something interesting that the PlayStation version might not actually have the same content that the Xbox version does. Yeah, less.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something to really kind of pay attention to as well. I need to bring back Johnny Podcast. I don't think that's exclusively on Mooch's Crossfire show.
Great.
look, Johnny P.
I know exactly. Anyway, I think that's cool. Predator, what do you think, man? Are you a Sea of Thieves fan?
Nope.
I
did enjoy it a little bit when I first got into it, but it wasn't anything that was going to hold my attention. I knew that going in though, which is why I didn't buy it. I mean, after playing the alpha, beta, and it was fun with friends, but I don't typically get on when everyone else is on. So it's like, why waste my time doing it? Like I do have not EA Access. I do have Game Pass still, but I really have not picked that game up. And when I do play it, it's like maybe for like an hour and then I'm done with it. And I got other shit I got to play. So
would you try it again now after the update? Would you go back?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try it after the update, but I mean, I can tell you now, it's not going to hold my attention. It's just, there was so much. I thought there was so much missing for me, as a gamer. The stuff that I enjoy playing in the game. There was stuff that I just didn't see that I thought should have been there that wasn't there. Like as they slowly added in, kind of like the Division 1, as people who kind of backed out of it in the beginning, if you played it at the end of its lifespan, it was a totally different game. And I'm hoping Sea of Thieves becomes that, but I don't want to have to go through the growing pains every update to figure that out.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think that they've been very receptive to a lot of the people complaining about the lack of content. They've been adding a lot of cool stuff. So I'm happy with it. I just I feel like for some people it's going to be too late, and to be able to disable the crossplay and stuff like that. It makes sense with this, but that should have been there from the beginning, in my opinion. Yeah. Just like this, no crossplay for Halo Master Chief Collection. Boom. I know, right? So also no Play Anywhere is Play Anywhere dying. So I do like the fact that there's no crossplay with this. Maybe they'll just do crossplay eventually for Steam and Windows. What the hell is that?
Predator, what are you doing, man?
Predator's like boxing up stuff or something. I don't know.
My cat's microphone. So the fucker that turned it off during a podcast once.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So I was very happy when I heard that there was no crossplay, and then they're like, yet. So that makes me kind of scratch my head a little bit. Like this would seem like a game that would definitely not get crossplay, or they would be very limited with it,
Crap.
like campaign only or something along those lines.
Crap,
Yeah.
I know they say it's
Co-op.
bad luck, but I would tell you right now to open up your umbrella. Well, because I'm about to rain on that parade. Here's the problem, Crap. Halo Master Chief Collection, we know. We all know this all too well. As much
Well,
as
Halo's
I
back, Mooch. Halo's back. Thanks to it being on PC.
That's not where I'm going with it.
I know.
I know it's back. It's doing great. But what I'm saying is, Halo Master Chief Collection is a gift. And Xbox will tell you this. It is a gift to all of Xbox fans, right? However, it's come with unbelievable trials and tribulations. So that being said, the only reason, in my personal opinion, from reading and hearing, and like Crap said, the key word was ... yet. The reason that they don't have it is because they're just they aren't able to get it working on it yet. This is still an absolute spider web of problems for them that they're still trying to get the kinks out of this damn game and make this thing that gold nugget like they wanted it to be back in 2014. And so the reason that it's not available, Crap, is not because they don't want us to get mixed up with PC or keyboard and mouse. And I listened to your video and I was like, boy, I want to believe what Crap's saying, but I don't think any of that's the truth. I think, and that's not your fault. That's kind of the pitch. But realistically, I think it's because they can't do it. And the minute they can, they're going to be like, hit the switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to be like immediately going to hit the switch. And all of a sudden, you're going to have keyboard and mouse, play everywhere, play anywhere. Everything that you really
hold
don't
on.
want will
Play
be there.
anywhere they could do, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
just
understand.
owning it,
Well, again, I think it's all tied. It's all tied.
Technically, when they built the Master Chief Collection, they were using a different SDK that wasn't dealing with Play Anywhere. And that's the whole thing. It wasn't built from the ground up with Play Anywhere in mind. So for them to do that, they have to go back to source code and make some changes. And that's why they're like,
do you feel like they're going to add crossplay with PC on Infinite?
I feel on Infinite.
Yeah.
On Infinite, I feel that they will. And then I hope and pray that there is a toggle to turn that shit off.
Yeah.
To be really honest with you, because I am not dealing my favorite game, especially multiplayer. All right, my favorite game, multiplayer, and I don't want to deal with the whole mouse and keyboard situation. Like, I know there's gonna be mouse and keyboard on console and all that good stuff, but to add that whole other line of PC gamers, people that know how to go into the source file and change things or find a way to use an aimbot and stuff like that, I don't want to deal with any of that.
No, but that's not the same quite as mouse and keyboard itself. Like, there's tech out there now that the game can recognize the device you're using, if it's a controller or if it's a mouse and keyboard.
And
would
that's
you be
exactly,
would you be against crossplay with Halo Infinite if the PC players were forced to use
dude,
a controller?
I am all for crossplay. Just give the gamer the choice on whether or not you want to play against mouse and keyboard.
No, I'm saying, like, if the PC guys were only allowed to do crossplay if they were using a controller, like the game recognized you're in it, you have a controller, you can play with Xbox guys. Would you be willing with that? Or
when it comes down to it, I mean, I would have to see what happens. I would say, yeah, go ahead and do it initially, but be on the lookout, because when it comes to the PC is open platform.
It is. It's more prone to cheating and stuff. I'm very aware of that.
There's so many different pieces of software people can download. There's so many things that gamers can do on PC to try to gain an unfair advantage. I don't want that coming to my favorite multiplayer game on my console. You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
Go ahead, Crap.
Well, I'm just gonna say, not only do I completely agree, but I feel like Microsoft owes it to the Xbox fans to always give us the option. I'm with you. If you want to put it as an option for something, I don't even see it as should be an option for the competitive part, right? Mouse and keyboard just has no place versus controller in a first-person shooter, especially with a lot of these game modes that Halo is known for, right? Just completely unfair.
SWAT mode where it's just headshots. Oh my god! It'd be brutal with the mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got to be wary of that if you're Microsoft. This is your baby, right? This is your game that you're trying to bring back from the it's back because it's on PC, right?
It's back.
Yeah, it's back, people. So this is the game that you're hoping is a revival. We've heard people say 25 million they expected to sell, even though I don't expect this game to be on Steam at all. I know some people are like, well, because the Master Chief Collection is going on there, But again, you have to remember the Master Chief Collection is super old, and the games on there are super old. So going to Steam as that collection is one thing, but you have not seen Microsoft put like a first-party game on Steam. I don't think at all, right? Like especially multiplayer, like Gears isn't going. None of those stuff is advertised for Steam. So I don't think that that's actually going to be a thing that we have to worry about. I just hope they don't do a thing where they did like with Gears, where they just sort of go, okay, well, now we're going to try it and see how it works, right? And then you play against the PC players or whatever, and it doesn't work out too well, but they're like, it worked perfectly.
Well,
there was no advantages.
I'm not trying to play devil's advocate crap, but here's my thing. Why wouldn't they try it? Look at the world at what they're building. Why would they not try it? The reason they haven't done it is because they're just technologically that game is it's literally the Halo Master Chief Collection should also be known as the Apollo 13, right? It's a successful failure.
Saved with duct tape.
Right, right. You know, I mean, so don't get me wrong. They're putting this thing together. Once that thing is up, and I love that thing. I got to say to you, Halo Master Chief Collection is. I'm so happy to own it, but it's taken them so much time. They're still working. You hear 343? They're like, well, before we get into Halo Infinite, we'd like to give you guys a Halo Master Chief Collection update. You're like, dude, it's 2019.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. You might be right on those. You might be right on the tech issues there, Mooch, considering there's no crossplay at all on the co-op aspect, the campaign co-op, which in Halo is fantastic.
They'll work it out.
So good. And if it's not there with no advantage at all because it's cooperative, then maybe it is a tech issue.
It's a tech issue. Once
it would
they
make
get
sense
that fixed, believe me, they're flipping the switch, Shady. Trust me.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah.
Or at least they're going to try it, crap, like you said with Gears. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Well, here's the thing. Why don't they try it? Because first-person shooters have a notorious advantage for keyboard and mouse, whereas maybe a third-person shooter not as much. But you definitely don't see. They're like look at even what Fortnite's doing. Like your game, you have to cater to your audience, right? And like Fortnite, they pulled Nintendo Switch off that because it wasn't fair to those players that were getting destroyed by people on PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah.
So they pulled it. You have to be wary of your audience and appease your audience. There's going to be an audience there for PC to play against PC. You don't have to crossplay every damn thing. I get that that's Microsoft's mantra, but at the very least, make sure that there's a clear option to turn that off, because I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't feel like going out there and getting smacked around by people with a keyboard and mouse. So hold on. Steve Ballmer's Headspot says it's back. Is referring to the first two Halo games on PC back in the day. No, they're saying Halo's a thing again, right? Like nobody was excited about Halo on Xbox apparently anymore.
When Halo 5 came out, man, like a lot of people freaking picked up that game. And then going through the first year or so, as they were adding in content, more and more people. I wouldn't be surprised if that's like the highest selling first party game this generation on the Xbox One.
You think so?
I wouldn't be surprised, dude. It was like 3 weeks. It was up over 5 million.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Halo 5 is good. I think they're going to really go all out with Halo Infinite. I like that they're naming it different things now. You know what I mean? You don't have to name it Halo 6. Yeah, no more numbers.
Halo
I think
23.
that's really smart. Yeah, I think that's really smart. I think that they just need to, and they're doing the split screen and all that kind of stuff again. Right.
Yep.
So I think that's cool. I just think, they have to be careful where the fans are concerned. You have to protect your player base. Right. So Microsoft, they're the ones that, in my opinion, are the ones that are as loose cannons with this stuff, where you have even the PUBG guys. People go, are you going to do crossplay between Xbox and PC? And they're like, no, you can't do that. It wouldn't be fair. First of all, on the PC, you can reduce your shrubbery and all that stuff and your grass to next to nothing.
I used to do that in Fear back in the day. I turn all my shadows off, so I'd have guys online trying to hide in the pitch black shadow, and I could see him clear as day. And I felt dirty about it, but I did it. I used to do it back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. So you've gotta be very careful about that kind of stuff, And I think that's going to be the main problem that a lot of people have. And that's the main problem that I have is just give me the option. If you want to keep doing that, that's perfectly fine with me. But at least give me the option to not do that. And I think that's the main thing, right? Like you want the option, go ahead and do it. And hey, guys, hit the like button. We're so close to 200 likes. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, man. Wow, this has been a fantastic show so far, and I've got some more great topics. Let's see. We've got the this is going to be interesting. Nintendo Switch NPD winner. PS4 was second. Xbox One was the caboose, and Anthem was the top selling game, followed by Jump Force, Kingdom Hearts 3, Far Cry New Dawn.
That again for a long time.
Oh man, Jump Force, that's pretty impressive, to be honest.
Yeah,
with number 2 of the month, that was a big month.
Yeah. Red Dead 2 rounding out the top 5. What's interesting about this is Crackdown didn't even chart in the top 20 or 25 or something like that. So not completely unexpected. I guess that's where Game Pass comes in.
Maybe that's why I didn't have as good a time with it the other day when playing. Was out there, it just didn't sell well. I didn't realize, but that's why I wasn't having as good a time this time. Was it sold not so good? Because sales make a game better. They make a game way better.
Well, they do. I mean, yeah. If you're not selling well, obviously you're not going to have as good a time. I think that again, I've been on record. I think Crackdown 3 is a fun game. I don't think it's a particularly good game, but I do think it's fun, and I think that there's something to expand on there, and hopefully they give it a sequel in the future, because I've heard that a lot of subscriptions and things like that went up pretty well thanks to that game being a Game Pass. A lot of people were curious too about it, so that to kind of look at as well. I think at this particular point, because we all are expecting new console announcements very, very soon, do you guys think that it's about time that we get price drops on all the current stuff, with the exception of Switch, I guess?
I think it's coming, and the Switch should drop
holidays.
Too. It's kicking ass, but Nintendo holds on for too long. I think they take advantage of just being Nintendo. I would like to see their products come down in price just a little bit as well over time. But a price drop is coming. E3 is a few months away. I think we're going to go in for another price drop. We'll see almost $150 base price consoles.
They got to drop the price of the X as far as Xbox is concerned. I mean, we got down to as low as 170, 175 for the S last Christmas. So, you know, you're not going to see that thing get to 150. You're probably going to see similar prices, you know, somewhere around 170, 180. I think the X has to come down. I know people have said, and I checked myself, you can definitely go on Amazon and get the Xbox One X in a bundle for probably anywhere from $380 to $450, depending on the sale of the day. But there's been nothing official from Microsoft to knock that thing down. I don't see why the X isn't, at this point, at the very least, you know, a $450 or $399.
Especially considering these new consoles are supposed to launch in like a year and a half.
A year and a half. I mean,
they're supposed to be like $399, $499, right? And you still have the current
$500 console. Come on.
Yeah, like to me,
official, right? Crap. Because I mean, a lot of people, the minute you say that,
yeah.
people go on. They go, "I can get it right now for $3." Yes, I see them too. They are out there, but those are incentives, deals, and sales of the day. If you just happen to walk into a store and go buy one, they're still $499 on most shelves. But I mean, realistically, I just think they need an official price break. But yeah, this is going to be a great holiday for people getting a PS4 vanilla or an Xbox One S for dirt cheap. The Switch crap, I mean, you even said it last week on Crossfire. You're like, Mooch, guess what? I'm like, what? You're like, Dark Souls, not definitive edition, the remastered is $34.99 on sale on Switch. And I'm like, it was $39.99 to start.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's no breaks on Switch. None. Listen, I played and beat Super Mario Brothers. What was it there? Not now they call it Deluxe.
Odyssey?
No, the one for the Wii U
Super
back
Mario
in the day.
Brothers U Deluxe.
Right, U Deluxe. And I want that game so bad. I am not paying that price right now for the Switch. For a game
I have that for the Wii U as well.
Yeah, I have it for the Wii U, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I
want to buy it and I want to play it again. We love that. That was like a family favorite, and I'm just like, Nintendo, how are you charging me that much?
You still have your Wii U version. Okay, Nintendo products never go down in price. Sell your Wii U version for $55.
Oh no, I
Someone will
sold
buy
everything.
It.
I sold all my. Listen, you understand? So Shady didn't know this. See, Moochonomics is different than Newfonomics.
Oh yes,
I sold my Wii U the minute that the Switch was for sale. I traded in all my Wii U games. I went in, I got the Switch, and I got Zelda, and I got Horizon Zero Dawn for the amount of money I got for. That's how much those games are selling back in Nintendo money for retail on a trade back. So I walked out with a Switch, a Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Horizon Zero Dawn for trading in my Wii U and all the games I had for. Because listen, there's no CD. It was no good to me anymore. I'm like, well, this is dead. And, you're hoping that Nintendo had a better – the eShop's coming along, but we were hoping they had a better when it launched. But nonetheless, so, I mean, you trade things in when you see the best value, folks.
Yeah,
that's just the way to do it.
Go get that Labo.
Yeah, go get the Labo with the VR, right? So
VR.
look, well, yeah, we're definitely past due a price drop for like PlayStation. Like, look, the PS4 Pro is still $399. Sony's really milking that. Yeah, they've fallen behind the MPDs for a few months in a row now. I think that they're definitely going to drop the PS4. I think that $199 price point is going to be very attractive again, and especially for look, Sony's very cocky. They want that over 100 million mark, right? They want that PS4 to be that success. And it already is. Like, let's be honest, man. They ran away. They ran away with it this generation. Yeah. And to their credit, they put out some incredible games late. People that I never would have thought would bought a PS4 bought one for games like Spider-Man and God of War, and they should have, because those are fantastic games. Uncharted. I said this earlier because people think that I've been unjustly negative towards Xbox. Not true in my opinion. I've been, critical, but that's just my own how I feel about things. But the fact is, even I think the hardcorest Xbox dude will admit that their software has been lacking this generation, especially the last 3 years or so.
The first party, the first party hasn't been nothing but quote unquote bangers. That's for sure. It's coming along.
Yeah, and so I am looking forward to seeing what they do. I think that Microsoft could set themselves up to do really well towards the end of the generation in the next year and a half, 2 years, because there is they're going to come out with Gears 5, Ori 2, and the rumor is that Ninja Theory's game is coming out for the Xbox One early next year. So that could be kind of a game changer. And then you lead that into the launch of, and you're still going to be able to play this on the Xbox One X, probably Halo Infinite, the next Forza, maybe the Fable. They could have a lot of momentum going into the generation. I feel like Sony has strategically sort of delayed, quote unquote, within eternally delayed some of their PS4 games to make them cross-gen PS5 games as well.
And I said that was going to happen anyway.
Yeah. Well, dude, like, look, when we saw those games, what was it, last year, Bot? It was like, when we saw that Ghost of Tsushima, there's no UI there. There's no, I'm like, what's that game even running on?
Yeah.
Like you have to question, what is it even running on? And it turns out, like they said PS4 Pro, but who knows?
As soon as I saw all the physics with all the leaves getting kicked up when they had that one-on-one showdown, yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm like, yo, like, no, this is next gen. This is definitely next gen.
Yeah.
They might not be showing all the bells and whistles right now, but like that physics at its fundamental like coding, I'm like, yo, that's next gen right there.
Hey, we didn't skip past Crackdown 3 flopping. We talked about it. We said that's why they put it in Game Pass. What more do you want us to say? We had fun with the game. Apparently I saw somebody from one of the IGN, the head person for the hell is that they do Game Informer.
Oh crap.
He said that apparently you're not allowed to like Crackdown 3, even though he does. You're not allowed to, but people have fun with the game. It's not perfect. I don't think it's a good game by any means. I just don't think it's a 5 or whatever. I think
when the Sony movie bundle with Detroit and Beyond Two Souls goes to PC, it makes people angry. You know what I'm saying? So they might do that now. They might want to hear about Crackdown, because of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it didn't do great. What can you do? It was really, really expected to. Yeah, it was really expected to not really do much. I think the lack of the party is what really the lack of bringing a party into the wrecking zone. Yeah, they still haven't fixed that, have they?
No,
not heard. But Crackdown was never a multiplayer game, albeit this one had a lot of eyes on the multiplayer portion. But it was always a single player. I thought it was going to do a bit better myself, just because of all the attention on this game. You got people that like Crackdown, like myself and others, and then people that just hate on it. And I thought they were going to hate on it and be interested enough to go and check it out, but I bet you they did in Game Pass as opposed to buying it.
Yeah, I mean, look, and the thing is this: we saw, I just saw Jamie Moran tweet that Walmart thing. Walmart is exploring its own game streaming service, and he says Walmart fanboys ? Like, it's funny because I saw Google fanboys saying it's the end of Xbox and PlayStation and all this other stuff, and you just sort of shake your head. It's just you would not believe
that war now too against Google.
Yeah,
fanboys.
It's like here's Walmart fanboys, Google fanboys. Like, holy crap! I did see that one guy kind of tear into the Google presentation from Rainway or whatever that is. Maybe you guys heard about that, but he really tore into the Google presentation, which I thought was kind of funny and interesting. You know, and he wasn't wrong. You know, like even if you think that it's totally the future, they didn't really show anything. So, you know, I thought that was kind of an interesting sort of situation.
I just love, and I know we're kind of bringing it back. I just want to say it one more time. I just love the fact with Google not coming out with a console, they've basically taken all the pressure that has been on Xbox's shoulders with xCloud, and it got dumped right on their shoulders. Like, here, you take it for a while.
I mean, that guy Kareem Chaudhry, the guy that says it's a monster, he's the head of the xCloud department. He's like, no. He goes, we always think that to get that best quality experience without the compression and things like that is going to be a box under your TV. And we're very proud of being able to continue doing the boxes and things like that. So, you know, that kind of is what it is. I wanted to talk a little bit about Game Pass because it, you know, that keeps on up in the ante as well. Edith Finch, Deus Ex, Walking Dead, Michonne, Vampire, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, all announced for Game Pass. This could be one of the better ones, and they've been doing some pretty good ones. Mooch, are you a Game Passer?
I sure am.
You sure are. Tell me what you think, man.
Well, I mean, you know, the smaller games actually mean more to me than the bigger game. That Deus Ex is not my bag.
Oh, I hated that game.
Deus Ex is fire, man.
Yeah.
It is fire.
I hated that game right from the beginning.
It's fire like that gif of that kid trying to skateboard down, lit on fire, and he puts himself out at the bottom of the hill.
Detroit should have been. All right, brother.
Not really. I don't know, some reason to me that's a dumpster fire. It belongs in the Just Cause category.
No.
Yeah, it's right there. It's a mess.
No.
But you know, the thing about it is, I think I'm enjoying Game Pass for some of the things that like people don't talk about. Like I'm actually enjoying. I'm trying to get through some of the Telltale, the Walking Dead stuff. Yeah. And as I'm going through it, like the Michonne one, to have that there. Now I have the complete season 1. I have the complete season 2.
Hey, I can tell you something though. The Michonne one's a full 1,000 gamer score, and it is incredibly short. It's about 2.5, 3 hours long. The entire thing.
That's a cup of tea right there.
I'm not doing it for the gamer score stuff, but I mean,
I beat that game on 360, on Xbox One, on PS4. Come on, man. I got to. Come on, man. That's what it's all about.
I think that like what's nice about it is the big titles like Deus Ex and these other titles that go in like Just Cause 4. These are the ways you get like the casual market out there because they're not going to buy those types of games, but they'll enjoy them in Game Pass. And then you get games like Edith Finch, which don't get me wrong. Again, you can critique it if you want, or the Michonne game. And there was a couple of other smaller games the past few months that are decent. That's where a lot of the hardcore crowd, like Xbot and Shady were saying earlier in the show, they're like, I'm not going to go buy those types of games, but now they'll enjoy them because it's part of their package deal. So
you know what? I like how they've said that these games that are coming out are, because you know how I got burnt earlier by a game, then it shows up in Game Pass a week later. Right now in the games with gold for this week, Vampire is on sale, a big sale. Like it's normally $80 up here in Canada. It's 20. So my roommate and I, we almost bought it last night. And as he was going to click the button, I'm like, you know, dude, this game just feels like a Game Pass game. Like we just bought Far Cry New Dawn in the sale at half off. And he was like, how about this is going to show up in Game Pass, kind of like what, you know, Tomb Raider just did and Just Cause just did. It's going to happen in Far Cry. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, but I don't mind owning Far Cry for the, you know, $20. But Vampire, I'm like, I don't know, man, maybe we should wait. And then sure enough, the next day, it's coming to Game Pass. But I appreciate that they didn't wait till the sale was over before announcing that it's coming to Game Pass. I would like just more transparency on what is coming and when. Like we all know that almost every single movie is going to hit Netflix. We know it, minus the Disney stuff now, of course. But there was a while where we knew that every movie that came out, you had about 2 to 3 months, and then it was in Netflix. You knew it. So when you waited, instead of buying the disc, you knew you were going to get it. Whereas with Game Pass, we're not sure. Deus Ex is years old. Edith Finch is months and months old. So are a lot of these games. So I'm not willing to wait for the new hotness at the beginning for months and months, dare say years, until I get it. I would like to know that every game is coming within 6 months. Then I'm more willing to wait for some of my titles. But because it's so random right now, I find, I don't know, man. I'm too worried about getting burned. I want the game, so I want to buy it. But is it going to show up in a service?
I think you know,
I subscribe to?
Shady, you're going to get, and this is all of us. Your point is probably the best and well taken. I think for the foreseeable future, we're all all of us will have that burned feeling once or twice we went and bought a game whether it was on sale or brand new, and then in a short time after, like think about this. Look at how many people bought Shadow of the Tomb Raider, in October. and then in January, February, it went in.
Like if that became the new standard where a game came out and 3-4 months later, every time it showed up in Game Pass and we had that happening patterned, I wouldn't be upset about it. A, because I know it's going to happen. So I can be like, well, I want it now. I don't feel burned when it shows up. And then 2, it just helps with people make decisions with their money.
Here's a fun little thing for anybody who's doesn't understand what Just Cause is in my dumpster fire quote. Primitive Meat says, how dare you, Mooch? Just Cause is great. Have you guys ever seen any of those apocalyptic shows where somebody gets locked in a library and then at the end they find them, and at the end they're like, well, how'd you make out? And they're like, well, I mean, I can't stand reading books, but I was locked in a library. So while I was here, I read some of these great, classic novels. The only reason you'd ever enjoy Just Cause is if somebody was like, you're snow trapped into your house for the next 4 months and you've played every game you own. And you're like, oh, look, I got a library of games. Oh, well, thank God I've got Just Cause 4 here. I mean,
stop it. The game's good. It's awesome. The destruction is rad. It feels great floating around. It's fun stuff.
JD, when you know you can beat a game with a Pirates patch on, you know that game's not great.
Oh, come on.
Dude, they gotta
you only need like one hand tied behind your back and one eye working.
You can do awesome stuff in that game, man. It's another sandbox where it is what you make of it.
Real quick, Sir X-Man says the other 2 Crackdowns had a whole bunch of game modes for online, including Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, and Domination as the other 2. So he is pointing out that they did actually have some online modes and things like that. I know the second one in particular had some online stuff. So there is that, and he is right. So I didn't want to kind of have that misinformation. Yeah, you could do some stuff. Hey, Foxy's in the chat. She couldn't make it this week, but appreciate her stopping by. Hit the like button, guys. I really do appreciate that. You guys are amazing. With that, I am at the I'm probably going to get a gift from Mooch any second now at the 10 p.m. Eastern mark. And I think probably it is. Yes. He's like, gotta go. Okay, so with that, I'm going to do some outros. Mooch, what do you got going on, my friend?
Well, buddy, we got a great weekend, an absolutely fantastic weekend for gaming. I'm pumped. I'm going to be playing a lot of Division 2 up until Friday.
2. I got it downloaded on both my Xboxes now. So, yes, I am ready to.
Let's get crap on Division 2. But no, we do have Crossfire 7 p.m. Eastern time. On my channel, the MOOCH78, and then I'm going to be streaming Sekiro Shadows Die Twice all weekend long. Hopefully have a huge big time From Software like pro that's on Twitter that I hang out with. Sin will be joining me on one of the streams. It's not a 2-person game. It's a single player game. But at the same time, he's going to be on in the audio. This guy is intense. He knows his stuff from Software. I'm very excited to get into Sekiro. So I hope you guys, or Sekiro, if you guys pronunciate it that way, all weekend long. Definitely check me out on Twitch TV. Also, the MOOCH78 there.
Yeah, he's growing his Twitch, man. He's bringing the Moochisms and everything.
Twitch is growing.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it, guys. Trust me on that one.
Road to 1,000, crap.
Almost. Road to 1,000. I got to subscribe, I think.
I would appreciate it.
Not even I have subscribed yet.
Subscribe!
So, yeah, I will. I'm going to. I'll be a sub, dude. I'll sub to it.
Please.
Yes, we got XBot438. Wow, you're already like, it's so funny because XBot, I don't even know, was like an official member of the podcast, and now he's like the second introduction because nobody's left.
Climbing the ladder, brother.
That's great.
So, hey, what do you got going on, Bot?
Well, as usual, every Friday I am on Mooch's channel with Crossfire. Definitely tune in for that. That is the start of the gaming weekend. And then Saturday on my channel with my brother Predator right there, we do the next podcast where you can actually watch gameplay, vote for the best gameplay, and hear about the gaming news. So you definitely got to tune in there as well. Other than that, all I do is stalk Predator's MySpace. Otherwise.
People will be looking me up on MySpace now.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, man, yeah, I mean, why not, man? MySpace was the stuff back in the day. So, and we also got Predator. Thank you again for joining us, man. What do you got going on?
Let's see. 4 Guys with Quarters tomorrow. Next podcast Saturday. And Division all weekend long. So that's it.
Also, are you playing on Xbox or PC?
I'm playing on Xbox.
Okay, good stuff.
Moose keeps trying to jump in with me, but he's too low level. I can't jump with him. So.
Yeah, I like it. I'm like, hey, Pred, let's play. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I beat the game like an hour and a half ago.
That's still a thing.
I'm like, well, hey, Pred, put the brakes on. Well, you came out like an hour and a half ago. Well, what I do.
Hey, what? Yeah, well, I don't know.
That's what he says to me.
Vote for Fred.
Vote for Fred.
guys.
Level 40 out of a 30.
That's
unbelievable.
that's awesome. And making his debut and actually went pretty damn well, man. So Shady, thank you for joining us, man. What do you got going on?
What I got going on Twitter, I am So Shady at the Sesh Empire. I'm So Shady on Xbox. I just like to say, man, it was both a pleasure and an honor to come on the show this week. Like I said, I'm a longtime fan of the show, of everyone on it. I love talking games, man. I would love to come back again. I'm going to officially throw my hat in the ring in your open spot. So anyone listening, if you enjoyed what we had to say, the dynamic we got going on here, let everyone know that you'd like to see more of me, and maybe I'll come back. I'd love to come back. And I'd also like to say, make it official this week. This Friday will be my first full-time panel member appearance on Breakfast with Boom. I will be there every Friday morning now with Boom. And that is fantastic. I've done the show maybe 7 to 10 times ish, somewhere in there with him. And I have a great time every time. Yeah. It's a little more cash, a little bit more, or a little, we're just here to celebrate gaming a little bit more than to critique it, if you will. Just a different flavor. I find just doing it in the morning offers something unique compared to a lot of the rest of the community. I like doing that. So you can catch me on Boomstick XL's YouTube channel every Friday morning, man. I look forward to coming back if I can. Thanks for having me. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take it easy.
No problem, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great one. Actually, much more positive show today than probably many expected. Keep it gaming. lots of things changing, but gaming is going to be awesome for a long time to come. So keep that in mind. Be good to each other. Have fun. We'll catch you later. Peace out.